Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be filming a get ready with me. So if you're interested in seeing how I created this makeup look, just keep watching. Okay, so I have done my hair. What I just did was I took my straightener. I used the Ultra Chi Original. I've had this for about 5 or 6 years. Still works great. I just ran it through my hair, straightened the top portion, and then did a quick curl at the ends. Alright, I also prepped my face. I washed my face in the shower, and then I used the Pixie Glow Tonic just on a cotton pad, just wiped it all over. And then I did my moisturizer, which is the e.l.f. Daily Hydration Moisturizer. And then I also used the Ole Henriksen Banana Bright Eye Cream just on my under eyes and a little bit on my lids. So now we will get ready for makeup. So I also prime my face with primers. Right now I am mixing two. I use the Laura Mercier foundation primer, the hydrating one, and then the NARS Radiance primer. So what I do is just put a little drop of each in my hand. So it looks like this. Mix them together and just rub them all over my face, including my eyes, because I do not use an eyeshadow primer. Rub that all in. You can see I am much glowier now. Leo making his signature cameo and looking out the window. So next I go in with the Tatcha Silk Canvas just to fill in any pores or bumps. And so I just usually do that on my chin, center of my forehead, and then I get really large pores right here. So I just go in over top of those just so that my highlight goes on much smoother, because you don't want to put highlight on those big pores. Now, the Tatcha Silk Canvas Primer is super expensive. They now have a mini one, which is $20. Now, this is going to last me the rest of my life. It is huge, and I've barely made a dent in it. So if you want to try it out, I would just get the mini one, because that's probably going to last you like all year, honestly. If you don't want to spend that much money, I have also been using the Smashbox Photo Finish Foundation Primer Oil-Free Pore Minimizing. I believe now it's just Pore Minimizer, but it is the purple Smashbox one. And that comes in like 3 different sizes, so you can pick which is appropriate for you. Next, I go in with my full coverage foundation. The foundation that I love so much is the Jouer Essential High Coverage Cream Foundation in the shade Pebble. Has a nice gold top. Now, that's slightly dark for me right now, so I am going to be mixing in a little bit of the NARS Natural Radiant Longwear Foundation in... I don't know what shade this is because the label fell off, but in a lighter shade. So I just pump these onto the back of my hand. I recently just got a mixing palette, so I will probably be using that soon. But for now, this is what you get. So I just mix those together. And then I'll just apply what's on my finger. And I use a damp beauty blender. I used to use a brush before Beauty Blender became really big. But now I use the Beauty Blender and there's just like no going back for me. If I'm doing like a BB cream or something lighter, I will use a brush, but if I'm doing like full foundation, I will always use the Beauty Blender. So I'm just gonna try to do like a portion of my face so you guys can see. I got a little bit much on this one, so I'll just blend that out on my forehead, but you guys will be able to see the comparison. With foundation, without foundation. Significant difference. So just blend that out all over. If you are new to using a heavier, I don't want to say heavier because this is very lightweight, but a more pigmented foundation, you'll definitely want to start with a small amount and you can always add more. But you know, in foundation, you can't really take it back without starting all over again. So definitely just use a little bit and then you can always pump out an extra pump if you need it. But especially when you're using a higher end foundation, because it's expensive. I mean, they're like 40 bucks for a bottle and you don't want to be wasting any of that product. So I am just going to bring this down on my neck a little bit. I don't need to drag it down too much because the shirt I'm going to wear will cover that. But you just want to make sure that everything is blended. And like I said, the shade is a little off for me, so blending is key. Alright, next I am going to go in with some concealer. The concealer that I use is Tarte Shape Tape in the shade Fair Neutral. And we are just going to apply that under the eye, on the nose, a little bit on the forehead, and then the chin, and the under the nostrils. Just because I get really red there, a lot of women do. It's just how we're made. So notice that I did not have to dip into that concealer more than once. This is just one swipe. That applicator holds a lot of product, and Tarte Shape Tape is very pigmented, very full coverage, so a little bit goes a long way. So if you're trying that, which if you use concealer, you need to try it. It is a game-changing concealer. I didn't get it until probably almost a year after it came out, and I was just like, wow, I've been sleeping on this. Why did I not get this? And now it is my favorite concealer of all time, and now my mom loves it, so it is definitely a good one. Now you'll notice with the under eye concealer, I did not add like as much as if you were to watch any other YouTube tutorial, you'd be like, that's a lot. Yeah, we don't add that much because in real life, that's just gonna crease up under your eyes and make you look old. For filming, it looks great. But if you're going anywhere afterwards, no. Okay, so next I am going to do my cream bronzer, which is on its last leg. so please excuse it, but it is the Hoola Quickie Contour Stick by Benefit. And I just do a swipe. Okay. And then you just blend this out using the Beauty Blender as well. Okay, so I went ahead and blended out the bronzer. As you can see, it gave a little more definition to my face instead of just flat. Now I'm going to go in with a liquid blush. This is by NARS and it is in the shade Orgasm. So for liquid blush, you just need a teeny tiny amount. And I just blend that out into like a circle on the back of my hand, like that. Put the remaining product on my Beauty Blender, and then just pick up a little bit more, and then just dab it right on the cheekbone. And blend it out, and then we'll just do that on the same side. On the opposite side. Do the same thing on the opposite side. Now you can see we're definitely getting some life back into our face. So as you can see, there's still a good amount of product on the back of my hand. You just need a little bit of liquid blush. Now, this is where I wish I could say this is the end of my face routine, but if I were to leave these cream products on my face and not set them, they would be gone in an hour, unfortunately. I love the glow that it gives me. Wish I could just pop on a little liquid highlight, but no, not gonna let me. So, next I'm going to go in with the Too Faced Born This Way Ethereal Setting Powder in the shade Translucent. I'm just gonna dump a little bit into the lid. And then this is where I go back in with my Beauty Blender. Make sure that anything that has settled into lines is blended out, because we do not want to set it in a fine line, because then it just is going to make you look old, and we don't want that. So we're just going to put a light amount underneath the eye. Again on the nose. Basically all the places that we put concealer, we're putting this powder. And that's all I do for that setting powder. Now, if I'm doing like a nighttime look, I will bake or let it rest on my skin for a little bit longer. But for daytime, we do not do that. Next, I go in with just any of the CoverGirl pressed powders. I love them. This is the True Blend one. And we are just going to set the rest of our face. And then I do not like to add any extra powder where I put that setting powder. So I just kind of make sure it's all blended out. And that's it for powder. Now we are going to go in with our powder bronzers and blush and highlight. So I am going to use this crown brush, which is very similar to the Tom Ford bronzer brush shape-wise for a fraction of the cost. I'm going to use Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer. We're just going to sculpt all the places that we put the cream bronzer. We're done with that. Now I'm going to go in with the Hula Light by Benefit. This is also a bronzing product. I'm just trying to use it up. Normally I use my Marc Jacobs Omega bronzer for this step. And we are going to contour. I'm just using a Morphe M523, and then for the nose contour, I use the Morphe E45. And again, if this were an evening look, I may go for more of a snatched up nose, but this is daytime, so that'll do. Next, we're going to do blush. I always switch up my blushes, but right now, with the springtime weather coming out to play, I am using the Becca Luminous Blush in the shade Snapdragon. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful bright pink, but it has the shimmers in it are almost like a golden coral color, so it's very beautiful. It's actually very similar to NARS Orgasm, but a little bit brighter. Now, I just tap my brush in there, and you can see how bright this is. These Becca blushes are great because they are highly pigmented. They do come with a hefty price tag, but they are highly pigmented. They're beautiful blushes, and it's gonna last you such a long time. So there we go, putting a little bit of light back into our face. Next, we are going to do highlight, and I am going to go in with Becca Champagne Pop. You see that? Yep. And it was super easy. So I used the Morphe M501 to highlight. Okay, so I just set my face with the NYX Dewy Finish Long Lasting Setting Spray. Just sprayed that all over to seal all of my face products in. I also went in and put a little bit of lip balm on. This is just the Vaseline Lip Therapy. I'm not obsessed with it. Just any lip balm that you prefer works just fine. I just like to take this opportunity to prep it for any lip products that I'm gonna put on at the end. So next I'm going to move on to eye products. I am going to use the Kat Von D Shade Light Eye Palette, which if you have watched all of my videos, you will know that I am obsessed with this palette. It is very dirty, beat up, and we're already completely out of a shadow. So it's a good one. It's all matte. It is warm toned and cool tone, good neutral palette for anybody looking to invest in a matte palette. So I'm just gonna go ahead and start out with the peachy shade on the top first. I am using a Sigma E40, and I am just going to apply this just above my crease, kind of more on the brow bone, but also down onto the lid slightly, just to create a transition shade. Now I'm going to do the same on the other eye. And actually, just for the purpose of time, I'm just going to show you guys one eye. So now I go in with this brush from, I think it's Moda. Yep, Moda brushes, and it is just their crease brush. I'm going to pick up this middle shade, which is kind of like a taupey gray, and put this in my crease, but also blend it out. This is just going to make the look a little more neutral and cooler. Now, if you want to add a little bit of vamp to your daytime look, I would go in with this end shade on the cooler side and just kind of stamp that on in the outer corner. I am using a Morphe M433, and then we'll just blend that out. Take it into the crease just a little bit. Blend it down. Okay, now I am going to go in with a Morphe M170-10. This is just a flat concealer brush. I'm going to pick up the yellowy shade on the top, and then the more gray white, not the white in the palette. And just apply this to my inner lid. Now I started in the center because I want that to be the brightest spot on the eye. And then I'm just going to go back in with that blending brush just to blend the line. Next, I'm going to go in with the Morphe M149, which is just a nice fluffy pencil brush. Pick up that middle gray shade again and just put that on my lower lash line. Alright, I'll go ahead and do the other eye, and I'll be right back. Okay, so don't worry, I'm not done with the eyes yet, but I just went ahead and did the same thing on the other eye. Now I'm going to go in with this crown brush. I'm not sure what it's called, but it's just a duo fiber brush. I'm just going to swoop underneath my eyes to wipe away any fallout. We gotta keep that highlight blinding, you know. Alright, so now I'm going to go ahead and do my brows. So I go in with the NYX Micro Brow Pencil in the shade Taupe. It just looks like this. It has the pencil on one end and a spoolie on the other. And I just go in. Hopefully you can see this. And I just draw a guideline on the bottom side of their brow. And then I go in and draw a guideline on the arched part of the brow. And then I just fill it in. It's like magic before your eyes, isn't it? Sorry, it's very hard to talk and do brows. Brows, mascara, lipstick. Very difficult to talk during those. Okay, and then I always go in with my spoolie and blend it out. That is the key to making your lashes, your brows look more natural, is to brush them out after you fill them in. Whether you use pomade, powder, or a pencil, or a marker, whatever, go back in and brush it through. Then you can see if there's any spots you missed. Looks more natural. So on film, I know this looks a little bit light, but in normal daylight, it is really a good color for my skin. So I'm gonna go ahead and do the other brow. I'll be right back. We're back with fully filled in brows. Now I'm gonna go ahead and set them. I use the Anastasia Beverly Hills Clear Brow Gel to set these bad boys. I just comb them up, and then any of the hairs that stick out, I just tuck them back in. Do the same on the other side. Now when doing your brows, it is important to remember that your brows are sisters, maybe even cousins, but they are not twins. If you can perfect fully symmetrical brows, teach me please. But keep in mind that you're probably not going to be able to, because most of our faces are not symmetrical, so to create two symmetrical brows is nearly impossible. Not saying it can't be done, but it's difficult. Next, I'm going to go in with the Kat Von D tattoo liner, and we are just going to line the upper lash line with this. So I will do the same on the other eye off camera. But now we are going to go in and highlight that brow bone with the Kat Von D palette. We're just going to pick up that kind of taupey white on a Sigma E20, which is just a short shader. Any shader brush will work, any small concealer brush, small pencil brush. And just highlight that brow ever so slightly with a matte shadow. Now, you can go ahead and do that with a highlight, but since I am doing matte shadows, I just like to keep everything matte. So now I'm going to curl my eyelashes and put on mascara. Since this is my normal daytime routine, I do not normally wear lashes. If I did want to wear lashes during the daytime, I would opt for a more natural lash that's shorter, just something from the drugstore, nothing too fancy. So I'm going in with the Hourglass Caution mascara. I just have the baby one, but I will be purchasing the full-size one because I am loving this mascara. I feel like you can actually see my lashes, which is says a lot because I have short little blonde eyelashes. So if a mascara does anything for me, I'm like, I need 10 tubes of it. But like, look at that. You can see my lashes. That was just one dip in too. So I love this stuff. Next, I will go in with the Flower Beauty Eye Kohl in the shade Black and just line my lower lash line. Using that, the waterline actually. And then I go in with MAC Extended Play Giga Black Lash Mascara. It just separates my lower lashes so well. I could probably do that with the Caution mascara, but I have this, so I just use it. So I'm gonna go ahead and do the other eye, and I'll be right back. Okay, you guys, so I went ahead and finished my eyes, so they're the same. One thing I did forget to show you guys is that normally I do a little inner corner highlight, and I just popped a little bit of the white eyeshadow right on the inner corner just to brighten it up. It is matte, so if you do want something a little bit more, you can always go back in with your highlight that you used or a shimmery eyeshadow. So next we'll go ahead and I also wanted to mention that if you get mascara on your skin when you are applying it, don't freak out. I know it sucks, but let it dry, and then you can usually just flake it away with a Q-tip or a spoolie. Just scratch it off. So just a little tip. Let it dry completely though. All right, for lipstick, I am going to go in with the MAC Lip Tensity in the shade Driftwood. I love this color. It's just kind of like a taupey neutral nude shade, which goes perfect with what we're doing because our eyes are kind of that neutral look as well. So this is just a normal lipstick, nothing fancy about it. I just really like the color of it. It's one of my go-to shades. It's my second tube of it. And I just love to have it in my purse. It's just like a quick touch up. Set the face using the the Urban Decay All Nighter Setting Spray. Love this stuff. And then I go in, because I'm extra, with some Tatcha Luminous Dewy Skin Mist to make things a little dewier because my skin is dry. So I just cover my eyes. Let that all dry. And this is the finished look. See, this is just a normal, everyday, day-to-day look. Nothing too fancy, but is what I usually wear to work on a daily basis. Sometimes I'll switch up the eyeshadows just a little bit, throw a shimmer in there, throw everybody off, change up the lipstick or change up the blush. But normally I just keep the foundation very simple and switch up the eye or lips. So thank you guys for watching. If you have any other makeup looks that you would like to see, let me know in the comments section below and I will work to get those videos out for you guys. Thank you for watching. We'll see you in the next one.